Now, I've got another good one to go over here today, and I'm going to tell you guys straight up. I tried to make a play against somebody who had pocket kings. I'm not going to say how it worked out. You're just going to have to stick around and see it. And this one's not going to be, too long. I'd say between like 10 and 12 minutes. But here's what I want you to do. Grab a bottle of water, a Gatorade, maybe some coffee, sit back, and we're going to get into some different situations. I'm also going to say this one time. If you guys are not in our community yet, I don't know why you're not in it. That's going to be in the pinned comment. You can talk with me, other high level members. And I'm going to say this, man. I've been playing for basically like 2 decades at this point. I've kind of been through everything. And I think, just kind of being in some kind of community is definitely it can't hurt because, playing this game, it can be isolating. I said that the other day, but I think everybody has some leaks they can also, fix. All right, so anyways, I opened here with a Jack 10 off, kind of spice things up a little bit to the 1750 piece, and I think it's going to come back around to player 5 or player 6 here, and we're going to kind of just get into this. And in this one, I was very aggressive. Typically when I play, I'm just trying to exploit opponents using GTO or like an ABC kind of style, and, I bluff quite a bit. And if I feel like I can get a bluff over on somebody, I'm going to go for it. Let's take a look at the table as well. So player 3 doing pretty decent in this one. Everybody else is kind of just, where they started, which is, it is what it is. All right, so player 5 is going to call. Not exactly a good flop, but I think this is probably going to miss player 5 a lot too. Plus, we have some good turn cards. Maybe we hit a jack or a 10 or some straight draws. We're also blocking the diamonds here. So, I kind of just continued here, going a little bit hefty, like the garbage bag, you know what I'm saying? And I think this was enough to get player 5 off of it, so but let's see if he did make this call. No, he folded it, so worked out. Let's see what that turn card would have been. Let's see that turn. All right, the turn would not have been good for us, so that was good. All right, next one here, we got an ace 10 suited, I think. Yeah, so nice looking hand in the big blind. And it's nice to have the ace 10 be suited because, I say it all the time, when ace 10's offsuit or ace jack's offsuit, they are kind of like those tricky hands to play. But when it's suited, it definitely makes you feel a lot more confident, if you know what I mean. So here we are. We are just going to defend here. You could argue re-raising this, but, I think I'm just going to make this call. Unless I did re-raise. Let me see. I think either or is fine. Because he didn't do this on the button. So he could have a decent hand here. And I think that's kind of the conclusion I came to. Now, we did have the draw out here. Kind of nice, except you got the paired board, which I don't like. But obviously we're not going anywhere because we could still hit that heart on the turn or the river. Or maybe an ace on the turn would be good here. You never know. But I'm expecting player 4 to continue here with basically anything that he has. And he went really small here, which is kind of funny. I just called. I was like, all right, whatever. Turn card was a 5. Didn't really like to see that. Didn't really change anything for us here, though. Now, if player 4 goes a little bit larger, I might consider folding here. Just because, we're looking for an ace on the river or a heart. He just went for a pot size here, and I just kind of gave it to him. I didn't even want to chase this. But, it is what it is. Let's see what that river would have been after this fold. Don't know if I would have been regretting this one. Kind of felt like he had a king here. I mean, what else are you going to be doing? We're blocking the heart, so we know he's not on a heart draw. So it definitely feels like a king here makes a lot of sense. That's why I folded it. River card coming. And we would have got there. So that was a little bit heartbreaking. It is what it is. I just gave it to him, what are you going to do? Frustrated for sure. Definitely. All right, now we get the ace deuce. A little ace deuce off here. Little ace deuce. Okay, easy fold for us. Player 5 is going to re-raise here. Back over to player 2. Player 2, what you going to do? Okay, and nothing going. And I think we're already, are we, let me see here. Nope, ace 10. All right, so we actually had two ace 10 suiteds in this one. What's going on here? Kind of interesting, right? All right, let's see if we can make it happen with this one, because we didn't make it happen with the last one. Now you have first to act, open raiser. I'm just going to call him again here. You know, now you could re-raise this. You can. I just made the call here. Back over to player 2. Looking for a little redemption here, because our first ace 10 suited didn't work out for us. So let's see if we can get some redemption. And of course, another king is out there, and we have no redemption, it looks like, going on here. Player 5, you know, continued pretty fast here. I actually made the call. Turn card was not good. Now, if he kind of barrels again here, I think it's basically kind of the end of the line for us. I had to let this go. So, you know, kind of rough. Two ace 10s. We took the L on, and then, you know, what are you going to do, right? Okay. All right. And yeah, just a fold here. And I hope you guys are still with me, because we are kind of getting to this moment where it's kind of like make or break for us. And, you know, it is what it is. And I'll say it one more time, man. Get in that community. You know, it's definitely grown. We got a lot of good people in it. And of course, you got me you could talk to. And, you know, I've just been through it all. So gladly help anybody out there. All right, player 3 kicked it up to the 60-piece chicken nug. See, player 2 makes this call, and he does. We would have flopped a, you know, miracle kind of straight draw. Player 3, you know, let out pretty quick here. I think player 2 is just going to raise the white flag and call it a day right there. You know, and it is what it is. And here we go. Now, sometimes you kind of like get in these moments when you're playing where you're like, you try to make a stand, and sometimes that stand works out, sometimes it doesn't. I had an ace 8 off here, kind of a garbage hand. It's still playable from like late position, but we were still kind of in early position. So, you know, this is not, I mean, it is what it is. Like if I was on the button with this, yeah, of course I'm going to, you know, raise it up. But we're still early to act here. And, you know, typically this is a fold. But I was playing a little bit different in this one. A little bit more aggressive. A little bit just kind of like opening things up, if you will. You know, you saw me do it with the Jack 10 off earlier. I kind of did it again here. And I also noticed, too, like another thing was everyone's playing pretty tight at this table. So I was kind of just trying to mix things up. Like I said, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and you just kind of roll with it. Back over to player 2 here. I think he is going to get out the way, I'm pretty sure. Then player 3, who's been playing pretty good. You know, you can see he's doing pretty well. We are going to find some resistance here. And he is going to raise it. He's been playing. Kind of like my thinking here was he just trying to like bully us a little bit? Does he have like a decent hand? We don't have a strong hand, right? We are blocking some hands though, pocket aces, because we have an ace. We are technically still blocking a lot of ace king and ace queens. He could still have it for sure. So, you know, I had to make a decision. Normally this is just a fold. I just didn't want to get bullied around, if that makes sense. And I think you guys have probably been in moments like this too, where you're like, it's not so much about the cards. It's just like, I'm just not going to let this guy take this one, right? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And that's kind of like the mood I was feeling here. And yeah, I'm gonna try to make a play here. Try being the key word. And here we go, you know. Normally just a muck, but didn't want to get bullied here. Sometimes you do this, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. In our case, we're going to get snapped off here. He's going to turn over kings. And, you know, look at this flop. I mean, kind of the end of the story, kind of end of the line for us. But anyways, I hope you still enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed kind of the loss here. I like mixing things up, right? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But if you have not subscribed to us, please don't dislike this one too much. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.